the Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, Dr. Fijo Ratansi, the Chair of the University of Nairobi Council, Professor Julia Odhiambo, the former Vice-Chancellors who are here today. I must, of course, recognize Professor Francis John Gishaga, who has mentored a lot of us over time. And of course, Professor Peter Bithi, who was just there before the current Vice-Chancellor. Under advisement, I may now and then remove this piece of cloth covering my mouth so that my glasses are not misting up. Otherwise, I may read strange things, ladies and gentlemen. Professor Kiama has already said a lot about his history, so I will complement, I will supplement, and add on to a lot of what he has said. To start with, Professor Stephen Kiama Gitahi is a professor of veterinary anatomy. He was born 56 years ago and is married to Teresa Nugare Kiama, and together they are blessed with 2 children, Gitahi and Wajugu. As a scholar and a leader, Professor Kiama holds an earned doctorate degree in structural biology. His PhD marked a culmination of a long journey, sustained personal illumination driven by an abiding curiosity to broaden horizons of knowledge. As Professor Kiamba pursued his scholarly and teaching roles, leadership duties seemed to beckon at every turn. It is in delivering these tasks that he garnered broad hands-on skills, practical knowledge, and fundamental proficiencies in key structural, legislative, and regulatory frameworks crucial to the effective management of institutions of higher learning. In the fullness of time, he has accumulated a vast wealth of administrative experience, honed his skills in management of people and programs for set outputs. He has cut his teeth in leadership and distinguished himself as a capable leader. His progressive rise in leadership roles, where he has served in senior management positions in the University of Nairobi over the past 16 years, speak to this fact. Before his appointment as the 8th Vice-Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, Professor Kiama served as the Deputy Vice-Chancellor in charge of Human Resource and Administration and Acting Vice-Chancellor in charge of Finance, Planning and Development. He has also served in several administrative positions in the university, including 1, Principal College of Agriculture and Veterinary Sciences from 2016 to 2019, the February of that year. 2, Acting Dean of the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine in 2014. 3, Founding Director of Wangari Maathai Institute for Peace and Environmental Studies between 2010 and 2016. 4, Chairman of the Department of Vet Anatomy and Physiology, 2005 to 2010. And Associate Dean, number 5, of the Faculty of Vet Medicine between 2003 and 2010. Obviously, I had the privilege to appoint him as the Associate Dean while I served as the Vice Chancellor in 2003. He has served as a member of the University of Nairobi Senate since 2003, thereby gaining vast experience in directing and supervising academic programs. In addition, he has exhibited remarkable gift in people management, eye for detail, and possesses exemplary skills in financial management, networking, fundraising, and resource mobilization. It is for this reason that Professor Kiama was appointed a juror for Wangari Maathai Institute campus and University of Nairobi Tower Design competitions, respectively. Golden Climate Awards organized by Light Academy and the Wangari Maathai Scholarship Award. Professor Kiama started his scholarly academic sojourn in 1972. He has told us at Gatoge Primary School. He set for the Certificate of Primary Education CPE in 1978 and was admitted to Kenyatta High School, Mahiga, where he set for the Kenya Certificate of Education in 1982. Again, as he told us earlier, he was admitted to Nakuru High School, where he seemed to enjoy wearing trousers for his Kenya Certificates of Education A-levels. After successfully completing A-levels, Professor Kiama was admitted to the University of Nairobi for bachelor's degree in vet medicine, graduating in 1990. Upon graduation, Professor Kiama joined the faculty of University of Nairobi as an assistant lecturer in the Department of Vet Anatomy. Since then, he has risen through the ranks to position of lecturer 1995, senior lecturer 2002, associate professor 2012, and full professor 2016. Instructively, Professor Kiama has steadfastly scaled the ladder of scholarship from the very bottom to the pinnacle of academia as a full professor. He earned his doctorate, Doctor of Philosophy degree in structural biology from University of Bern in Switzerland in 2001 under the able tutelage of Professor Emeritus Peter Gere. His PhD thesis that was titled, and I quote, "Functional and Morphological Characterization of Particle Dendritic Cell Interaction," close the quote, was called as very good. Previously, he had pursued his master in vet anatomy under the supervision of Professor J.N. Minor, a renowned avian morphologist, and Professor Josabata Bataje. His master's thesis was entitled, I quote, "Morphology and Morphometry of the Pecten oculi, a comparative study." By his own admission, Professor Kiama was fascinated by animal anatomy from a very tender age. In his adolescence, the death and burial of a farm animal from unknown causes was a fodder for his curiosity and experimentation. If bones could talk, I'm told they do not, they would tell the story of a young Kiama who, upon decomposition of the carcass, would dig them up and rebuild their skeleton. In fact, at some point in high school, Kiama had assembled the full skeleton of a cow and kept it in his thingira. Who does that? Maybe only Professor Kiama. Kiama would never have known that this seemingly innocent preoccupation with animal life was preparing ground for a career in biology and thereafter veterinary anatomy. Years later, Professor Kiama's elder sister would serve as an animal health assistant. This further fueled the fire of his career interest. His greatest inspiration to venture into the vet field, however, was one Dr. Sira, a veterinarian from his home area who struck youthful Kiama as oozing in youthful exuberance and sophistication. Unlike in human medicine where patients went to the doctor, Dr. Sira would be the one visiting homesteads, attending to animals in ill health. Impressionable Kiama would be persuaded that this was the ideal way to work, rendering professional services in situ. That could explain why Professor Kiama was so swift in asking students, staff, and faculty of the University of Nairobi to operate from home as soon as COVID-19 was declared a global pandemic. And indeed, we all did. Teaching and student supervision. Professor Kiama is an astute pedagogue with a natural penchant for excellence. Professor Kiama has a solid and discerning commitment to the mentorship of undergraduate and postgraduate students as well as a member of the faculty he worked with. As a result of this, he has a commendable list of academic prodigies. To date, he has successfully supervised and mentored 12 PhD and 14 master students to completion. He is an accomplished scholar with a solid and proven track record in formulating and managing academic programs. His distinguished input in academic discourse, research, and publication does speak for itself. Research publications and visiting professorships. Professor Kiama has done an viable track record in academic research and publication. This is demonstrated in his contribution to several publications that he authored or co-authored with peer-reviewed journals. To date, Professor Kiama has co-authored over 150 journal and conference publications. The papers have been published in prestigious and high-impact factor journals such as Nature, Nature Communications, Journal of Leukocyte Biology, Immunology and Cell Biology, American Journal of Pathology, American Journal of Respiratory, Cell and Molecular Biology, and Journal of Ethnopharmacology. His scholarly contributions are widely cited by peers in 2,237 Google Scholar citations, 23 high index, and 36 I-10 index citations respectively. Those who don't appreciate that, it just means incredibly good work. Besides authoring several publications and attending national and international scientific conferences, Professor Kiama has cumulative research and teaching experience of 30 years gained at various institutions, including this university, University of Nairobi, St. Andrews University in Scotland, Free University in Berlin, Germany, University of Bern in Switzerland, University of Witwatersrand, South Africa, and University of Ghana. Working with his contemporaries, Professor Kiama successfully secured research funding from, among others, the Dean's Committee Research Fund of this university, the German Academic Program, DRRD or DAD, the British Council, Swiss National Science Foundation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Carnegie Foundation of New York, National Research Foundation of South Africa, and National Foundation, Science Foundation of the United States of America, inter alia. Regionally, Professor Kiama serves as the node coordinator of the African Natural Product Training Network, RICE AFNET, involving 3 universities from East Africa, Makerere in Uganda, Sokoine in Tanzania, and of course, the University of Nairobi in this great country. A network formed upon competitive funding award from the Carnegie Corporation of New York through SIG RICE. Through this program, he provided scholarships to 8 PhD and 8 MSc graduates. Most of the beneficiaries and graduates of this scholarship have been absorbed in academia, including absorption in this university. Leadership and higher education sector. Professor Kiama possesses a unique aptitude that enables him to maintain a vibrant research career as well as an excellent record of visionary leadership, whose manifest success is in various leadership positions he has held in the university. His proficiency at attracting and maintaining networks within and between local and international universities, keen on cross-fertilization of ideas and experiences across institutions, has been impactful as it has been momentous. The above qualities, far beyond the realms of the University of Nairobi and within the higher education sector, carry considerable weight. In 2019, Professor Kiama was elected the chairman of Deans and Principals of Regional Universities Forum for Capacity Building in Agriculture, simply just referred to as RU Forum, which is a consortium of 114 universities in 38 countries in Africa, whose mission is strengthening the capacities of universities to foster innovations responsive to the needs of smallholder farmers. The University of Nairobi is a founder member of this organization since 2004, when I was the Vice Chancellor of the university. Vision carrier for the Wangari Maathai Institute for Peace and Developmental Studies. Professor Kiama played a key role, in fact, I should say a major role, in conceptualizing and actualizing the Wangari Maathai Institute for Peace and Environmental Studies during his tenure as the founding director. During the same period, he was Associate Dean of the Faculty of Vet Medicine and also Chairman of the Department of Vet Anatomy and Physiology. From August 2008, the late Professor Wangari Maathai, 2004 Nobel Peace Laureate, and in whose honor the Institute is named, spent many hours with Professor Kiama sharing her vision of the Institute. Unfortunately, she passed on in 2011. May the Almighty bless her soul. Barely 2 years after the University of Nairobi Council approved the establishment of the Institute. By then, thankfully, Professor Kiama was well equipped to carry her vision to fruition, a role which he performed with the remarkable enthusiasm. I should actually add happiness. Further, he led in the formulation of the Institute syllabi in Master of Science in Environmental Governance, Doctor of Philosophy in Environmental Governance and Management, Master of Science in Natural Products and Bioprospecting, and Master of Science in Cell Biology and Anatomy. As the first director of the Institute, Professor Kiama provided leadership in forging links and collaborations. He guided the Institute's physical design, spending countless hours with the architects and engineers in efforts to reduce the design concept on paper before the development of the scheme drawings. Once again, I had the privilege to work very closely with Professor Kiama during this period, as I led the government team that was negotiating the funding of the Institute from the African Development Bank. And that bank gave to the government of Kenya to pass forward to the University of Nairobi slightly under 1 billion Kenya shillings to support the Wangari Maathai Institute. In the larger scheme of things, I should have said by then, I was the permanent secretary for higher science and technology in this country. In the larger scheme of things, as the progressive head of the department, institute, and college, he was responsible for overseeing all the attendant academic programs. Delivery of the institute benefited from Professor Kiama's dedication and fortitude, and drew from organization and planning expertise, as well as institute networking with stakeholders drawn from the academia, government institutions, non-governmental institutions. Indeed, the inaugural strategic plan continues to guide the Institute in its desired and projected growth path to date. As I conclude, ladies and gentlemen, you have seen the incredible contribution to not only the University of Nairobi, but to the world of academia and indeed world of management in higher education. You have seen what incredible things that Professor Kiama has undertaken. I hope you join me in congratulating him for this inauguration as the 8th Vice-Chancellor of this great university. I hope you greet me too in praying to the Almighty, something akin to the prayer of Jabez, that God accords him what he prays for. And he prayed to be the Vice-Chancellor of this university, and the kind God has accordingly given it to him. We pray he continues to bless him, as has been said by both the Chancellor and the Chair of the Council. We pray the good Lord continues to expand his territory. And as he does that, in turn, this great university for which he is blessed to be the 8th Vice-Chancellor. Professor Stephen Kiama Gitahi, as you start sitting on that chair, I can assure you there won't be a lot of time to sit, a lot of time to walk, maybe even to run. We wish you the very best and every God's blessing as you perform that job. Mungu akubariki, pia abariki Kenya yetu na university yetu. Thank you very much.